the northern shores and woodlands to the west, it's history. From copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fishery, to the farmlands of the southern counties and east to Chesapeake Bay. Look at all that waits the sportsman across the USA. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, the stillness of the forest is encased in Arctic cold. The wind might whisper through the trees, listen to it say the beauty of our great outdoors across the USA.
Hi there, come on in. I'm Fred Trost. I want to hop aboard the plane right now and take you to west of the Alaskan mountain range where you're going to visit our caribou camp. Part 3 in our sequence of our caribou Alaskan adventure. Then we're going to look at the life and times of the beaver. Interesting little critters, how they respond to the castor oil scent. You're going to find out about that, and then we will head to the northern Ontario region for some trophy pike fishing. This and a great recipe coming your way, so you stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's time for Outdoor Digest. There are mountains and there are mountains. Flying into caribou camp over the Alaskan range west of Anchorage, all you can say is, these are mountains. Our base camp at Osprey Mountain Lodge, just east of Stony River, is a rustic lodge in a picturesque valley. But cameraman John Ford and I spent only an hour there after flying in. Our outfitter, Gary Pogany, wanted to hop us to a nearby mountain plateau where we'd be by ourselves for a few days, hopefully just ourselves, with lots of caribou. Our 10 by 12 tent is that white dot on the tundra. The wind gusted up to 70 miles an hour at times, but it couldn't huff and puff our house down. Come on in, this is where we live. This is a luxurious camp up here in the Alaskan wilderness. What we have, first of all, you notice this is a tent that has canvas, but on the inside of the canvas is plastic, thick mylar plastic here, which keeps us dry, totally protected. It's framed up, so it's rigid. It isn't going to blow over. The floor, I like the floor. Good, clean floor that we can sweep out of plywood. The bunks, here they are, made out of plywood and a foam mattress, with sleeping bags on top of this and pillows which we brought. This, of course, this has 2 foam mattresses. This is where the boss sleeps right here, John. 2 foam mattresses, and I have a down sleeping bag. And this could be another bunk if there were 3 hunters here, but we just keep our gear out here, guns and so on. Now this is my 44, which I was considering using on a caribou if they're within range, and it's loaded. You notice it's loaded. The reason I keep a loaded gun up here, John and I both know where it is, this is grizzly bear country. Lots of grizzly bears around here, brown bears and black bears. You can see up here the reinforcements on these rafters here on the ceiling. Most of these are reinforced because they were broken by a marauding, either a grizzly or a big brown bear that came up and actually tore this camp apart, probably looking for food. We do have lots of food here. It's the only place we can keep it. There's no trees to hoist it up into. Here's some canned goods and puddings. I mean, we have sardines, some great conveniences here, applesauce and so on. Of course, we hang all of our gear here to dry, our clothes, a few socks. And here's the rest of our stuff that the bears would just love to get into. Of course, our garbage. Keep it by the door, figuring, of course, the bear would come through the door. Probably wouldn't. It'd probably come through the side, but if it came through here, it could get into things that it would love, such as cookies, candy bars, meat. We have some ham, some sausage, canned goods here. Then we have our breads, soups, pots and pans, toilet paper for the outside facilities, which there's no point in even go looking at them. It doesn't even look like anything. And our gas stove, and this is it. This is where we live, and we have been living for 3 days and absolutely loving it. Oh, did we love it. Canned bacon? I used to wonder about it, but it took only 1 day to learn to love it. See that? Scrambled eggs never tasted better. Maybe because this was grizzly bear country and we weren't sure if the meal we were eating was going to be our last. We really weren't all that concerned, though. A high plateau like this isn't visited by grizzlies very often. It's a place that caribou cross over, though, as they feed. These 4 caribou, a group of mixed-aged bulls, were browsing 100 yards or so from the tent. Look at the size of that big white one on the right. Several times a day, caribou would cross that close to the tent, but there's something about hunting all day from the tent that isn't hunting in Alaska. So we usually saw these caribou when we were at the other end of the plateau. The windsock is on the higher plateau behind the tent. That's where the Piper Cub lands to drop us off and pick us up. And that's where John watched that big bull disappear over the ridge to the west. To us, this sight was real Alaskan drama on the tundra. It's late in the day, the sun casting shadows under the fast-moving clouds, and out of nowhere, a small bull caribou popped up from the valley. In easy range, but not big enough.
I wish that was a big one.
Can you see any other ones coming? He keeps looking back.
No, I don't see anything.
I scope out this little bull that continues walking right towards us, unaware that I'm sitting in the open. The antlers aren't large, but neither is the bull, and I really want a big one with lots of meat for the caribou fondue at our wild game dinner in April. To me, a good meat supply is a prime consideration. Now, how close is this bull going to get? Not any closer. About 70 or 80 yards, their eyes seem to focus in, then they'll turn away. Up to that point, they're oblivious if you sit still.
Oh, it's exciting.
You can walk if you want, but the best way I've found to hunt caribou is to pick a good location and glass the horizon.
Oh man, a bunch of bulls. Look at that herd. I can't believe that. Oh God, there's one huge one in there. One huge one. 2, 3, 5 huge. Holy cow, I can't even believe this. That's a whole herd of bulls. I wonder if I dare run over the hill. If I dare run over the hill to see where they went. Could you believe that?
That was unbelievable.
Those bulls?
Should we go check it out, or what do you want to do?
Let me go check it out, and I'll wave to you if they're... But they seem to be just traveling over there.
Okay.
But let me go see. Oh, man.
Now our hearts are pounding. It's the moment of truth.
Fred, on the left. 2 big bulls.
You know, the caribou doesn't really use its nose too much. A lot of people think they're like deer and they smell things from a long ways off. We found they haven't. One creature that does use its nose in an interesting way is the beaver, responding to the scent of castor oil. Here's the story. Water trickling through a beaver dam, a familiar sound in the north where beavers build dams to flood streams so the water will back up into the aspen, their favorite food. Beaver also flood roads, causing millions of dollars worth of damage each year, which makes them very unpopular with county road commissions in the North Country. Damian Lunning from Mayo removes a lot of nuisance beaver, and he thinks they're nature's most interesting creature.
Well, he's built up a couple feet here, maybe 2 feet of the dam.
Yeah, right here it is. Down further, I would say it's about 4 foot.
Now, what's our strategy? Where are we going to be up? You can see the house right there. That's where he and his wife lives. Is that the...
That's where they're sleeping right now, I guess. Well, what we're going to do is just go up by it, and what we need is a wind in our favor to blow the lure across the pond, so once he comes out, he gets a whiff of it, and then he'll come over to us.
So our beaver that we want to film yet in daylight is sleeping.
I would say he's in there sleeping, yes.
Does he hear us, you suppose?
We've made quite a bit of noise, so I'm sure he knows something's out here, but...
And you say you can pull his chain here to get him
Yeah, hopefully.
Ring his doorbell?
Hopefully I can get him to come out. I got a pretty good sized rock in my pocket here, and I picture out in a pond that sounds like another beaver slapping its tail.
Oh.
And usually that rousts them out fairly fast.
Get the scent out here, Damien. This is from the castor gland, you say, of a beaver.
Right. The bigger chunks is what's on the side of the gland, and then there's a watery type of liquid in there too.
And this would come off of or the back leg or something of the beaver?
Right at the vent.
Oh, or around underneath the tail.
Right.
And then how does the beaver normally, if he was going to mark his territory, how would he deposit that?
Okay, what they do is they'll grab some mud, bring it up on the bank, turn around and just squirt some of this castor out on the mud.
So they don't just leave it as they go, they
squirted it, at will.
So we're going to put this in the air, and after the slap on the water and the scent in the air.
Right. As soon as the beaver comes out, we dab that stick in there, and he should be lying over here.
Well, this will be interesting. Aren't beavers concerned about our scent?
Normally they're not. Like I say, they're at home in the water, and they don't feel threatened in the water. So, we shouldn't have any problem with human odor.
So we're going to put this castor oil that's the scent of another beaver out here and then antagonize this beaver. Will the one that comes up, will that be the male or the female, or do you know?
We won't be able to tell, but it will probably be the male. They're the ones that are usually more aggressive. The female's pregnant right now, and more than likely we're not going to even see her.
Not only didn't we see the female, but we never saw the male. Evidently they heard us talking and moving around and decided to stay inside their lodge. Another night, on another pond, we set up again more quietly and soon saw the bubbles of a beaver family coming out to investigate. I held the stick with the oil from a beaver's castor gland, letting the wind carry it over the pond, and right away a beaver moved in. You can see it in the water in the upper left of the frame. It decides not to come any closer. It doesn't see another beaver, but the castorium, as it's called, definitely has its interest.
So he'll come up. How close will he get to us?
Well, we've had him within 6 inches of our
6
hand.
inches?
Yeah.
And does it want to fight or what?
Not really. It knows that we're not another beaver, and it just looks at you and blows air out through its nose, and then it'll slap its tail and swim out in the pond and do that a couple times.
Put on a little performance.
Really, I think more or less trying to get us out of here.
There were 3 beaver from this family cruising in front of me, taking turns coming in close to check out that strange castorium. It's a scent that not only attracts beavers, but it attracts all kinds of animals. It's still used as a base for expensive perfumes because it holds the fragrances of substances it's exposed to, slowly releases these fragrances when warmed by human body heat. Now this beaver glides quietly through the many tunnels and gullies they create all over the pond, most useful to them in the winter when the surface water is frozen. I remain as still as I can, holding the stick in front of me, seeing if that beaver won't swim within a few feet. His eyes aren't very good, but I think he doesn't like coming so close in shallow water. The sun has already sunk over the horizon in the west, and while the beaver were out in deeper water, I took the opportunity to move to a log that was closer to that open water, and it seemed to work. This fellow was really sniffing the air with his nose, and he gave me a quick look at his teeth. Now in slow motion we can really see them well. 2 long incisors on top, 2 on the bottom. That orange enamel on the front is very hard. The back of the teeth are soft, so the backs wear down faster, making them sharp on the front like chisels. It's easy for them to chew a 6-inch aspen in half in 10 minutes, a 5-inch willow in about 3. The world record, if there is one,
was 37 inches in diameter, a 110-foot tall cottonwood tree that was felled by beavers in British Columbia. Now, these beavers won't start to work on their trees until after dark, and I imagine they'll be on the lookout for that strange beaver that they swore they smelled by the edge of the pond just before sundown. But they did their best to scare it away. That's a famous beaver behavior, the way a beaver signals alarm to other beavers. The beaver, one of the most interesting creatures in our great outdoors. You know, when you think of the beaver, you don't normally think that it lives in a lot of southern regions, although it does. We oftentimes think of the northern parts of our continent. Let's head up to northern Ontario right now, where we go pike fishing for some trophy northerns. Sunrise. What a beautiful part of the day. This is Fishing Camp, Northern Ontario in July. At the bow of the boat, my 21-year-old son, Zach. At the motor, my 15-year-old son, Jason. And in one of the boats ahead, my dad. It was a father-son fishing trip. My favorite lure, by the way, is one my dad introduced me to in Canada when I was 10 years old, a gold Williams wobbler. I guess it's just nostalgia, but there's always been something special about the lure I used for pike and walleye fishing with my dad back in the 50s. And now on this father-son-grandson trip in the 80s, I'm using the same lure, casting and trolling for pike and walleye. Carl Salling was fishing with his son Mike, who caught a nice little pike early in the week.
That's like you get right over the back of the head. These are just the little guys.
The river we're fishing is the Attawapiskat, which flows into the Hudson Bay. We're at Pym Island, an Indian-owned camp, and Carl Salling from In Season Adventures books trips to this camp. It's the northernmost fishing camp in Ontario. It's not known for lots of fish, it's known for trophies, but we warm up on some smaller ones.
No, that is not a bad walleye at all.
Oh, I got him under the chin. A nice Canadian walleye. Well, what do you think, John? Shore lunch?
That's it.
Shore lunch, or do you think we'll catch a lot more?
Yeah, I guess we might as well put them back.
The teeth on those.
Now here's where a fisherman gambles on how many he's going to catch.
Oh! You know, they sit there so nice for so long, and you can look at them, and then they go haywire. Well, we'll let them go.
Now this is something I don't often do, but we're only keeping fish we're going to eat that night. The wind picks up. I switch to a spinnerbait casting next to the islands. In northern Ontario in July, the weather can change on a moment's notice. You'll often have several different conditions in one day. Rain gear should be with you all the time because you'll wear it frequently. You don't want to stop fishing just because of a little shower.
Not a great one. Oh, he's hooked right in the corner of the mouth.
Remember when I tossed that walleye back? Well, it's still haunting me.
Ooh-wee. Now tell me I'm not living dangerously. No wire leader. But they oftentimes hook in the corner of the mouth. That's not a bad one. Not a bad one. Do we need him for dinner? Do we need him for dinner, John?
We might. Now let's count on them for a few walleyes.
You think we have enough walleyes? I don't know. No, he's going for dinner. I think we need him tonight. Yeah, we better get the stringer.
I'm going to put this one back into the water too. On the stringer. Nothing like eating fresh fish for dinner, watching the sun go down on the Attawapiskat, and listening to the mosquitoes doing their blood dance. You want to keep them at ear's length, though. Forget your American Express card up here, but don't leave home without insect repellent. A new day, a new rainstorm. But they don't last long. Maybe the rain would bring good luck to Jason and Zach. Hold it. Do I hear him yelling for us?
Oh, that looks like a nice one, Zach.
It is.
Oh, that is a nice one.
Come on, Jason, get ready.
Put the net in the water, Jace. The net in the water.
Okay.
Zach will bring the pike back to it. Don't extend so far, Jace.
Come on. Got it.
Oh, Zach!
Jeez.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
Outstanding!
Talk about pride. The boys' pride in that trophy pike and my pride in my boys. All of us were on cloud nine.
Great! Oh, you have got to be thrilled.
He hit that and he said, I got a snag. I hit it in reverse and he said, no, it's a fish.
Were you trolling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way you gotta. That's the only way these weedless hooks will get set.
Let's see that. So that here, take my hand here and pull me over. Or hand me the net. Oh, Zach, that is great.
That was a fun fight.
Yeah.
Well, it must have taken quite a while because you whistled quite a while ago.
I said, big. Did you hear me yell, big fish?
Okay. Oh, look at that. Look at that weedless lure. He just sucked it right down there. Now, that is not a huge lure either.
No.
We're going to have to keep, we're keeping this one.
Oh, we'll keep this one, Zach. You want this one for the wall, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about getting this back. Look at the teeth. Look at the teeth. I hope it doesn't decide to chomp down here. Because that, on the top, those are all teeth in there, and these are teeth all around the bottom jaw. And I don't know. I think I can use the dehooker.
Okay.
Now these gills, I tell you, these gills are every bit as sharp as. Okay, now go ahead, put the
Well,
spreader.
that's a fish there, finally.
That is a fish.
Good job, Zach. Good job. He fought for
Okay.
5 minutes
Yeah.
there.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put the spreaders. Now these are called pike spreaders, folks. You need them especially for these big pike to hold the mouth open like that. I'm gonna take this dehooker. Can you hold it over here a little bit farther and get it down on the hook?
Look at the size of the teeth. Jeez.
Okay, now I've got it on the hook right there and lined up with the leader. We'll pull the trigger, and with any luck, there, it comes right out.
The magic bait, a silver daredevil spoon with ripple rind. The fishing camp, Carl Saling's in-season adventures. Zach, hold your fish up like you would for the trophy book. Yeah, attaboy. Wow.
We received a healthy recipe from Joseph Slifka for cholesterol-free fried perch. And with everybody so conscious nowadays about the healthy recipes, this one comes in very, very handy. Got your perfect fillet there, and this is perch, and you could use walleye or bluegill or just about anything else in this recipe. And it's a very, very simple recipe. We've got oat bran that we're going to run through a food processor, and you could use a blender or just a rolling pin. You just need to make it into real fine little pieces. And then we're going to use egg beaters rather than eggs and the egg whites and everything. Going to dip the fillets first into flour, and then you do want to coat them very thoroughly, and then into the egg beaters so that the oat bran will stick to the fillets. And then you're going to have to turn them several times into the cereal. And then they go into just vegetable oil. You don't want to use butter or anything else here. And there's no other seasoning in this, no salt or pepper or anything. And I think with the oat bran, with its flavorings, you really don't need anything else. And the fish should flake apart pretty easy. You don't want to overcook it. And even though this is not a Snickers bar, I think this is something that Bob Garner is really going to enjoy.
Not only is this a really good recipe, it is very, very tasty perch. Makes the perch taste good, great coating, but also I got to tell both of you, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, the world famous oat bran.
There's just a little bit of sweetener, I think, that comes through from the oat bran and it tastes just a little bit sweet to me. And I think it's from the cereal.
Well, I got to admit, the first couple bites I took, I didn't know if I was eating some children's food or what. You know? You were going to wipe my chin off after I had some with all this cereal in it.
Freddie, don't mislead these poor folks out here. This recipe is tasty right from the get-go.
Very good.
Not from the get-go.
Well, it's
After 3 bites.
it is in
no,
my
it is.
book.
You know, like a lot of breaded fish and perch especially, it grows on you real fast, and you can't get enough. Getting down the home stretch, too.
Great recipe, and Wilford Brimley, watch out.
Well, we've been to Alaska in the last half hour, to the northern parts of Ontario. I hope that inspires you to at least get outdoors this weekend wherever you live. It's a great place to be. See you next week.
Look at the teeth. I hope it doesn't decide to chomp down here. Because that, you know, on the top, those are all teeth in there, and these are teeth all around the bottom jaw. And I don't know. I think I can use the dehooker.
Okay.
Oh, these gills, I tell you, these gills are every bit as sharp as... Okay, now, go ahead, put the
Well, that's
spreader...
a fish there, finally.
That is a fish.
Good job, Zach. Good job.